Good afternoon. Welcome to this month's open book. Y'all, this month has been a fantastic month. This is actually Men's Month still. We are still in June. And it seems like a long month, but this month was Men's Month. We had Women's Month last month, and then this month we have Men's Month. We had Father's Day, we celebrated about 2 weeks ago. And then I actually had a vacation, y'all, last week. So we did a road trip for a whole week. So I'm well rested. I've been looking forward to this event today. So for Women's Month, we had a pop up guest author and book, and I wanted to still do it big for the fellas this month as well. And so today we have a fantastic guest author with us, Lamont Beard. And today he's going to share with us some information about, he has two books, but we're going to focus in on his latest novel called Praise and Worship. And y'all, I told him earlier that if everyone can please mute, it would really, really help. Okay, thank you. But I told him earlier I didn't get a chance to read the entire thing book this particular past week. However, I can say that the beginning of this book drew me in. Okay. And we're going to talk about that, chat about that today. We thank you, all of our live participants, for coming on today and being a part. We will have a time at the end if you would like to ask a question to our guest author today. So, for our pop up this month, and I can say that this is actually our first fictional book. Okay, so y'all, I am excited. And so, one of the purposes of this book club is to expose you to a variety of books. And so, with this one, we're going to delve into some different types of questions that I probably have not asked before. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Elma, welcome to the open book. Thank you for being today's guest author. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you for the opportunity. I just want to say hello to everyone, and especially to three people I see. I see Dr. Krista, I see Kimberly, I see Leo, people that I happen to know very well. So thank you for being a part of this, and thank you, Miss Esther. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, we thank you so much. So when I posted something, one of my cousins, Sabrina Lott, she saw the post and she tagged you, and so that's how I found out about you, about your book. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the heavy hitter questions and questions about your book. Tell us
Mm.
a little bit about yourself.
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity, and special shout out to Sabrina. Sabrina actually worked with me on the first book. And this is
Wow.
when she was working at the radio station. I believe that was what is that, KCOH 1390 AM, something like that. I met her and Al Freeman, and very cool people there. But yeah, I am a author of two books. First book is Consequence of Chance, which came out in 2015, and then my latest book here, Praise and Worship, which we released in March of this year. By day, I'm an educator. I work for Houston Community College. I've been an educator for about 17 years now, and I enjoy that. My wife and I both work there. We just recently adopted a little one. We're actually working on the second little one that we're adopting. So that's a whole new phase for me as a father. Fatherhood is an amazing ride so far.
Congratulations.
And just enjoy writing. I've been writing since I would say middle school. And I consciously knew I had something to say. So I would say since middle school, I've been writing.
So what do you teach at the college? Which subject?
So at Houston Community College, I teach a developmental course in writing. It's integrated reading and writing. So this is for students who are either coming directly from high school, who may not have performed well in their TSI, which is Texas Success Initiative test, or those who are just entering back in college after a while that they've gone on to the workforce, but they want to get credentialed or they want to go for a college degree, university degree. This is one of the courses they would take in en route to be getting to get certified.
Okay, because I think I had to do that. I attended Tarrant County College here in the Arlington area, and I'll
Mhm.
be honest and say, I had to take that developmental math. I was
Yeah,
good on reading.
yeah,
I had to take a developmental math course
yeah,
when I first got there, but thank God, all worked out. Went
yeah.
on to UTA.
Math hasn't been my strong suit either.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that was a huge struggle for a lot of people. But
Mhm.
writing and English, we have that in common. I was a fifth grade, fourth grade reading teacher. Now I'm an instructional support specialist.
Yeah,
But reading and I tell everyone here at the book club, readers are leaders. The more we read, the more we are exposed to different types of books. We gain more wisdom, knowledge, and experiences. And I definitely would tell my students that because a lot of them came from backgrounds where they didn't have a lot of experiences. And so I said, well, one way to get the experiences would be to read. You can go
right,
anywhere with the book.
right.
And so that is very, very good. You said so during middle school, you saw that you had a gift for writing. So what prompted
Yeah.
you to become an author?
I think it was just one of those, and just to piggyback on what you just said, actually, for those people who want to write, becoming a good writer is because of reading. The more you read, you develop your writing skills. So I would just add that. But I would say, um, just had a story. This particular story, "The Consequence of Chance," my first book. My wife and I would always play the lottery, only when it got super huge. You never played for 20 million because it's just 20 million. That's not enough. So whenever it got to 500, 600, I would play. And so what I would used to do, I would imagine winning and how I would spend the money. Like how I would put this much away. I would donate this to this charity or this church or whatever. And so over the years, I was like, what is that like for someone to win that? What would that, how does that feel? That life changing moment. And so from that imagination, I started thinking about the storyline. But then the more I thought about it, I said it might be even more interesting from a single man's perspective. And so that's why I made it where the guy, um, I had him, I forgot my guy, Douglas Moore. I forgot my own character. So, where I had him be this single guy. He was a teacher because I was a teacher, but I felt like I had more space to create this life as a single man. So that became that, and it did pretty good. I had a lot of interest in that, and I have people that still say, "Wow, I really like that first book you had." So I'm excited for people to see this storyline because a lot of people wanted me to continue that as a sequel. You can see right there. But I wanted to take a break from that because it took me a while. And sometimes you got to lay stuff down just to kind of get a breather from it.
Right.
And so I think I probably would revisit that storyline eventually. But yeah, I'm excited about the new book too.
And so the book that he's referring to, this particular book is called The Consequence of Chance.
Uh
Consequence
huh.
of Chance. Okay.
Uh huh.
So and it's so ironic because a lot of educators actually wish we could win the lottery.
Hmm.
Most of us have a second, stream of income, some three streams of income
Yeah.
so they can raise that pay grade.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would love to even read that from an educator's perspective
Hmm.
of how that really looks, because it seems like a fun book, and a lot of educators would be able to relate to that story.
Yeah. It was fun writing it, and I wrote it in a way that I could relate as a man, even though 99% of that is not my life, although people think it is. But the language I use is a little bit raunchier
Okay.
because it's how men speak when they're in, their own circles.
Right.
So one of the things I took from that, I had a lot of flack for the language I use. Because again, I try to use language that refers to real life, and so whether using the N word or
Right.
cuss words. So in this new book, I tried to kind of dull that down a little bit. But yeah, the first book was really for teachers and then everybody else because I feel like that community I'm still endeared to. Um, but yeah, it was fun.
So what made you choose this particular genre, like fictional stories? Have you done any other types of genres like autobiographies, um, nonfiction?
I will say other published works that I have. When I was a part of a fellowship. U of H had a fellowship. I think it was back in 2006, where we were allowed to. It was a playwriting program, and so I did a play called, oddly enough, Consequences, and it was about a student who'd gotten a star athlete who'd gotten in trouble for having marijuana on campus. And it's a kind of a play between him and his coach, kind of like a life lessons thing. And so that ended up getting published in their publication. So that's online right now. Um, I've done poems, things of that nature. I used to have an interest in journalism. I actually have a journalism degree from Wilberforce University. And so even further back when I was at Pasadena City College, which is where I'm from, California, I was a part of a magazine there called Spotlight. So I had articles uh, published in that. So I've had the experience of being published before. And
Okay.
what's different is, with these two novels, I self-published. My wife and I have a company called the Late Boom LLC. So we published these books on our own, which gave us the autonomy to market how we want, do things differently.
Wow. So, and here at the Open Book, we usually ask this question of every author. How long did it take you to write your book? Because we have a lot of, including myself, I'm trying to finish my book.
Mhm,
And it seems like, I start, then I stop. But a
mhm,
lot of people that follow us are writing a book.
mhm,
And sometimes can get discouraged, or it also motivates us. If it didn't take a long time, if it did take a long time, we see that struggle and that you overcame that. So how long did it take you to write? The book that we're about to focus in on is called Praise and Worship.
mhm. So that book, it took me, I would say, close to 5 years, same as the first book.
Wow.
Now, this is something that I would say. I would say I believe that everyone can write a book. However, everyone can't write a good book.
Wow.
And I think,
Wait,
and
say that again. Say that again.
everyone can write a book, but everyone can't write a good book. And the reasons that they can't is not necessarily of in and of themselves, but a lot of it has to do with their lack of patience. Sometimes we want to put a book out, not necessarily because of the passion for writing. It's a bucket list. So then it's like, I want to write a book
Ooh, that's
because
good.
I want to just do it. Not that you have a story in you that bubbles, like for me and a lot of people, like you have the story that won't go away. It's telling you to write me. And that was the situation for me. Another thing is people who write, get people involved. You know, besides writing the book myself and my wife giving me editorial and revision tips, I actually hired an editor. My first book, The Consequence of Chance, I hired Mr. Marvin Cloud, who's a editor down here in Houston, and we went through that thing page by page, and that was a process, taking out, pages of things that I thought worked. Like, no, this is just fluff, or it's just unnecessary. And so, even with this new book, Praise and Worship, some of the people in the room here are my beta readers. They actually read the book before it was published, and some of the stuff that is, well, some of the things that they saw initially is not in the final version because there was,
Wow.
for instance, storylines that really didn't keep the story going. It was just like sub storylines, subplots, and so in the interest of being concise and having flow, I had to remove like swaths of stories because it was just too much. And for this book, I had Victoria Christopher Murray edit this. She's with the Brown Girls Publishing, and she's just got a deal with TD Jakes where she's publishing her books through Lifetime into film. So, are producing them into company, TD Jakes production company. So, you got to have a team of people. You can't just do it on yourself by yourself, and you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. And I like that was very smart to have someone. I don't think I've ever heard any author say that they've had someone read the book ahead of time before they published it. That's very smart because it will stop you probably from making some mistakes and putting too, like you said,
yeah,
too much into the book where it's just
yeah. I've had
overwhelming.
about
Um,
maybe 2 or 3 sessions, or 2 or 3 rounds where the book was read
wow,
just to get opinions of it, what worked, what didn't work. And after each round, I made edits to
I love that. That's smart. That's wisdom
that.
right there. Now, okay. I want to get to this title, okay? Praise and worship. Because when I saw the title of the book and when you gave me that other synopsis, I was like, wait a minute, how does this go together? So I want you to tell us, okay, and you can put it together however you want to. What prompted you or motivated you to, or I should say, inspired you to name it Praise and Worship? And then give us that PG synopsis because we don't want to give everything. Look, he wants y'all to buy it. Okay. He's not gonna give you everything
Yeah.
right now, but he's gonna give us a short synopsis of what the book is about.
So what the book is about is basically a couple, and the story follows a couple from their inception. In other words, we have Gavin Adams who meets uh, Clarissa Gentry, who is a former R&B star. He sees her at an event and he's enamored with her because he remembers her from her days in the 90s when she was a pop star. So basically, you watch how he um, courts her and ends up, beginning a relationship as boyfriend, girlfriend, and how that goes into engagement and the eventual marriage that they have. But we also see that in that marriage, there are some things that are um, brought to light, particularly about Clarissa and her personal interests, we'll say. And so basically, the story is about this couple who has to make a decision after going to some marriage counseling about the trajectory of their relationship. And the decision that they end up making is somewhat of a paradigm shift in what happens down the road. So, without giving too much away, I think I did a good job with
Right, because
that.
I was about to stop you. I'm like, wait a minute now, because I just started. Okay, you
Yeah,
giving me, I didn't even know they
yeah,
got married.
yeah. So yeah,
Oh, that's
it's.
good.
I'll give you a little bit more than I'll give you rated. What's that? So you got PG 13. So PG
But look,
13.
can I could I interrupt you
Sure,
for a second?
sure,
Okay, so I must say this. I appreciate first of all, thank you for my copy.
sure,
Y'all have my
sure.
hard copy here. I appreciate in the beginning the okay, the first person perspective of not just the first person perspective of one of the main characters, but I love how you gave it to us from different characters, switching
Mhm,
in from first person back into third person with other characters, because sometimes we want to hear the other character's perspective,
mhm,
what they're thinking.
mhm.
Okay. And so Gavin, and I like the oh my gosh, I love the sense of humor. I can sense a bit of humor in some of the things that he says and does.
Mhm.
Now, I do want to know because these are questions that I have, and this is why I love this platform because I can ask the author what were your intentions.
Yeah,
So, with Gavin, how much of that is you? Like, how much of that comes from your background and your thoughts and something you may have dealt with in your past?
I think Gavin represents men, and not all men. Okay, so let me clarify that.
I see Krista's face.
Yeah,
Is it Dr.
I have to
Krista?
be because these two young ladies were part of my beta group actually, and so just referring back to that statement you made about first person, second person. they really helped me out amongst other people who were involved because I had to clarify that voice so that people could be able to follow those characters because
Right.
sometimes it got confusing. But then
Mhm.
after a while, you caught us like riding the bike at first. So anyway, that's that. But as regards to Gavin, I think he represents men who have a high esteem of themselves,
Yes. Mhm.
who have a sense of their place in the world.
Right.
So he's an educator. He comes from a good family. He likes to dress well. He likes the finer things in life. I would say those aspects about who he is, I would say that's me. I would say I came from a good family. We weren't rich, weren't wealthy, but to me, good was that I had a mother and father who loved me, who gave me a sense of a purpose. So that's the good for me. I'm an educator as well. People who know me know I like to dress well. When I was working in HISD, when I wore a suit to work every day, um, people didn't understand that, but it was more so for young Black boys who saw me. It wasn't just for me. Although I enjoyed it, I needed them to see that there was more than jeans and Jordans. So that part about that, and just having a sense of who I am in the world, not just as someone who's just here. So that's that. But then the arrogance, I don't think that's me at all. But I've been called that too, and corny and other stuff. But a lot of what he has goes further to the place of his parents. So in the storyline, his mother is a principal, his father is a judge. So when you put that
Wow.
together, you do get this upper middle class, uh,
Mhm.
bourgeois sense of self that I never had
Yes.
that. I never had.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyway, that might be some of the things that I connect with, but not much.
And then, also, we were talking about this earlier, having real places helps the reader to connect to the characters because when I saw that Renee, I believe she went to Jack
Hmm.
Yates High
Yeah,
School. And I was like, oh, she went to Jack Yates. But then when she took that trip up here to DeSoto, because I'm from Houston and I'm also now in the DFW area, I'm like, oh, sis was in
yeah.
DeSoto too. So, it's like, you can really
Mm.
relate. And when I tell you the voice stands out, so when I tell you, you had a great team because
Thank you.
when you're reading, you're actually picturing what's taking place. You can hear those characters, you can visualize what they look like,
Mm.
and it really draws you in because I think to some degree, a lot of us in that dating scene have experienced rejection and like, is this person going to call? How long should I wait to call?
Mm.
Different things like that. That's as far as I've gotten in the
Mm.
book, which is why I'm talking on just that part of it.
Mm.
But I'm pretty sure throughout the book, as they get married and different things of that sort,
Mm.
these are situations that a lot of people are dealing with.
Mm.
And so to see it real life, like real places,
Yeah.
really, really helps the storyline.
Well, that was important for me too because my wife and I we enjoy dining out. We enjoy enjoying the city. Like I'm from a smaller city in California that didn't have a lot of the offerings that Houston has. So I feel like in both my books, Houston is a character. It's a part of the storyline.
Right.
And so
Right.
that helped me out to give you all as readers something to kind of dive into because if you can make the connection with the place, you can make the connection with the scene at that place.
Right. Now, in another question I have, like from an author's perspective, how difficult is it to come up with the dialogue with the characters? Like that just seems like a lot. Like I can picture a story, but the dialogue, how do you come up with that?
Well, I think for me, I'm a person who doesn't have to talk first.
Okay.
When I'm in a room, I can sit and listen. I do consider myself to be an alpha male, but I don't have to be heard
Okay.
first. I can sit and listen to people. I can observe situations. And so because of that, I enjoy dialogue. I enjoy laughing. Like my friend here, Kimberly, makes me laugh. She's very funny, intelligent too. Um, but when I listen to people, I'm listening for things that pique my interest intellectually, spiritually, from humor. And so, like, one of my favorite shows is Curb Your Enthusiasm. And so, shows like that focus heavily on dialogue are shows that, make me, because humor to me is another form of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then the way I talk with my people, there's a way I'm talking right now that offline you'd be like, did you just say that? Because when I'm in the comfort of my people, there's Levi.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand. We all have that persona. Because I tell people I have a Keisha number two. I have a teacher, professional Keisha. I have a Keisha number two that the professional people do not want to see. That ghetto side that I can go to.
Yeah. You
No,
gotta preserve it.
we
Yeah.
all have that. So, something else I was thinking about. Okay, so did you want to give us any more with the synopsis of the book, or was
Well, I would say this because you have a roller coaster ride awaiting you. And I just want you to be open minded because where you are now is very light. And as you can see, the reactions of the people below.
oh, based off of that first synopsis you gave me when I first talked to you, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's why I can't wait to delve into this. And I
yeah.
see two ladies back here shaking your heads. Do y'all want to add something about this? Because y'all have read it already. The PG-13 side of that.
Well, actually, what you're looking at is probably just the G version. So, I mean, you sound like you're basically on page one.
Oh, wow.
And when you get to page, let me see, how many pages is in this book? What is it? Almost 300 pages.
Yes.
I need you to get to like 150 or 200 and then come back to us.
Oh
Because
my.
you will be like, whoa.
Yeah. I mean, because even, earlier he was telling me a lot of, I'm like, woo. Okay. So, yes, let's let them read all of that.
Yeah.
That's a whoa.
Yeah.
I tell y'all, I can tell it's going to get interesting, and I'm so ready for it. Because
Yeah.
I mean, even although I read just a small portion of it so far, I can tell that it's going to go somewhere based off of how they act with one another and so forth. And the title itself draws people in because you didn't go deep into that title. I know it's more of a connection with why you named it that.
Well, I will go into that, but I wonder if Kimberly had something to say.
The only thing that I was going to say is I agree with you, sister, but I think it's probably before 200. And I like what you gave, Levi, and I think you should stop it right there.
Okay.
I think that you gave
Oh
a
yeah,
very good, I don't
Yeah.
think that anything else about the content or even how you came up with the name, unless you want to discuss the options that you had before that.
I think that's fair. I think the options are fair. Because I went through a lot of I went through a lot of names. And is this PG? Is this a PG show?
No, you're fine. Go ahead. We all
Okay.
grown and grown people.
So I had a lot of names, and it's just out of curiosity. I won't say one of them because I want you to stay, Miss Esther. Please stay. Um, one of the names I had was Cuff, and that's G-rated. Cuff is a term, around wintertime when single men and women decide to cuddle up until we get to spring. And so cuff was a term that I was running with for a very long time. And I even referred to it as an acronym in one of the chapters. There's a chapter where they agree to a certain decision they make as a couple that they're going to move forward on this decision. And so Larissa's character, who's also Renee is her stage name. Larissa's character gives this agreement to Gavin, and it spells out cuff.
Oh.
And so that's how I kept that name still in the book. But praise and worship was something that came to me like it just dropped in my lap because when I was writing this book, I it was what I came out of it was like a devotion between the characters that are involved. When you think about devotion in terms of religion, particularly Christian world, devotion is that time that you still away and you get deeper into a state of meditation, perhaps, that is meant to block out the outside world. And so in this deepness, that's where you get healed. You find healing, right? And so what people may not often make this connection with sex is that sex is a sense of healing too, in regards to someone who you actually love. When you love someone and you have that act, that's supposed to be a moment to be healed, to be restored. And so, in relation to the title, it's more of a spiritual reckoning. It's more of a metaphorical plea about sexual relations between people who have made a commitment or even a covenant, if you will, to keep along with the religious thing. That's what that's really about.
Right.
But some people, oh, that's blasphemous. It wasn't, it's not even meant to be that. It's not meant to be that at all.
And a lot of people, I don't think, and I know it probably can get a little deep with that part of it, but because God created sex, and I think a lot of times because He created in the confines of marriage, that when we engage in that act, that's praise and worship unto God because He created it.
I'll take
for
that.
that
You
purpose.
take that, Miss Esther? You okay with that? Okay, it's done. It's done.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think, yeah, I'll leave it there. Because that
But
can
that's
go
but
deep.
see, that's what I'm saying. That's the thing that people have to grapple with because I'll be candid even with this. So, and I'm not clout chasing, but even like I said, Victoria Christopher Murphy edited, and she's like, you're a good writer. This is great. Her concern is her brand. Like I was like, well, why don't you publish it? You like it, but there's her brand, her following is, women as yourself who are probably Christian,
Right.
who probably have a certain set of ideas. Like for instance, if I would have had Zane do this, I probably might have had this put on Zane's publication or her. But I think because I had a connection with Miss Murray through National Black Authors, which was done at Fallbrook Church a few years,
Oh,
her and Billings, Rashonda Taste Billings, they came and were like facilitators for a competition, whatever. They gave a competition. I came in second place. And so I was able to be able to talk to them and, like directly. So that's how I got her to be the editor. And so in the process of her editing the book, she enjoyed it, but it was just like that title and what you're doing in the book
right.
don't fit my brand over here. So I can't really do
Got
anything.
you. And yeah, because but based off of what you told me, the broad synopsis of it, people would be surprised at how much real life that is. And
Because
sometimes
we're closeted freaks,
right,
basically.
right. And sometimes we want to, oh, this can go, I'm trying to, but sometimes we want to cover things under the umbrella of I'm a Christian and those things don't happen. They can happen though. But how do we deal with that? And how do we, like you said, heal from those things if they have happened?
Yeah.
If they have happened in our lives or someone that we know, their lives, because these are things that are happening. I mean, I know a lot of people that are dealing with homosexuality right now. A lot of people that are probably having sex outside of marriage, people that are going through dating issues. We all know someone in each category. That does not mean that there cannot be space for healing and to come back. So it's like if we keep trying to put the cover on some things that is not happening, then we'll never heal. You can't heal from something that you're not open about.
And
Um,
I think
so
that's
I
very
can get
awesome.
that.
That's awesome how you put that because that's really what, like I said, the deeper you get into the storyline, you'll see that there's an unresolved matter with
Right,
Melissa. And that's what she's dealing with, that to be able to accept who she is.
right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to ask you. So, with this book, is there a lesson like people would learn or a theme in the book? that you could
I
share?
think there's a lot of things that can be interpreted rather than a definitive lesson. I
Mhm.
think the interpretation is more so where do you see yourself in relation to the storyline? That would be the lesson for you because everyone in here could take a different perspective. So the reality is I didn't intentionally have this. So eat your vegetables. That's the thing. It's more like how do you see yourself in relation to the story that would facilitate some type of awareness for you because everybody is not the same. And when they read the story, they might clutch their pearls. So then it's like, I don't know if I can relate to that in real life, but
Right,
maybe I can relate to some instance in the storyline of the marriage part
right.
or the part where as the dating scene in the beginning, something about that. There's something for everybody. It's just not an overarching theme, if
Okay,
that
gotcha.
makes sense. You know?
And then my thing is, we want to be open to different types of books. It's fictional, it's fun, sometimes entertainment. Some people just read certain things for entertainment. So it's different purposes for reading. But I am going to read the whole thing because I can tell that it's going to be very good and interesting. If
I
I
want you to call or text or message right when you're finished,
Okay, I
because
will.
then we'll have to do a part two.
Yes, because I want to get to that part. I want to get all the way to.
Yeah, because my wife and I are actually thinking about having um, uh, a launch party just to thank people who
Okay.
purchased the book. Because of COVID, we kind of like skittish about stuff, but people are starting to come outside. So we're thinking about doing something this summer, and I want people who read the book to come together and to have their own discussions and their interpretations of
Like
what
a
they
book
read.
talk.
If they want to wear a mask, it would be nice. And so that way we can just really fellowship and have our own type of congregation. You see how
Right,
I'm tying that into the book? So it would be a good thing. It would be a
right.
good.
And that's, here at the open book, we have different books, and some people that just may not be their cup of tea that month. So
Mhm.
that's why we try to expose people to different books, because some people may be interested this month, not next month's book, and so forth. Well, this month, this is the book. And going into next month, of course,
Mhm.
we want to focus and read that.
Mhm.
When I tell you I'm excited, congratulations on
Thank you.
the release of this book. Is there anything else you would like to share with us today about your book? How can we purchase your book?
The book is available on Amazon. I don't have the link, but you can enter Praise and Worship and you'll be able to find it. My other book is also there. But if you want to do it even easier, you can just go to www.thelateBloom.com. That will take you to our website. Then from there, it will take you to a link to Amazon to actually purchase the book. That way you don't have to search and you don't see it. Oh, I don't see it. So if you go to www.thelateBloom.com, then you click on purchase, it will take you to the Amazon site where the book is available.
Okay. And when I share this link, I'll put that in there as well. TheLateBloom.com.
Mm.
Okay, cool. Okay, any of our live participants, you have any questions for Mr. Beard today, Professor Beard?
I think DJ Leo the Great is in the room. I think he wants to spin or something. He's standing in front of a green screen.
Yes, this is
Check
DJ
out
Leo.
DJ Leo the Great. He has a Twitch account. He does great work. He's a great DJ.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's DJ Leo the Great, aka Mr. Give Me 10 Minutes.
Wow. I don't even want to do it.
So what I would like to say is you do an excellent job on the description of what they're wearing, uh, from head to toe. I
Thank
mean,
you.
he's got on the handkerchief to the type of coat to the tie. Some of those things I had to look up. Like, what is that?
Right.
And, I don't know what that is. I'm going to find out so I can complete my picture because
Yeah.
he's painting this picture for me with the color and where it is on the left side or the right side with the matching. It's like, okay, dude, it's perfect. And then the reference to Houston, like you said, because I'm from Houston, you know, I can, like you said earlier, I can see where this is, and I can see, what that feels like. I can see what that sounds like, you know, because you know that area of town, or you know what it feels and sounds like. I love that okay, one thing, so it did get your dialogue, I did get lost a couple of times.
Yeah.
Just because it's you know, dialogue is like, hi, what are you doing? I'm doing this. How about that? So I kind of get lost on who said until someone says, then she replied, oh, okay. So she replied to that. So then I got to go back and read it again. So okay, that's who said that. But it's authentic. You know, when I read it out loud, you know, because I'll read it out, the dialogue part I'll read out loud so I can hear it. And so I'm like, hey, and I'm changing my own voice and carrying on. So I've given them voices and characters, you know, because it's a good dialogue. And I said, yeah, that's something I would have said. I would have said that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the authenticity of the dialogue.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Yes, I agree. But you know, a nosy person, we keep up with everything. Dialogue and that, I keep up. Oh, that's what she said. Oh, that's what you said. But no, that I do thank you for your feedback and sharing that comment. Anyone else have any final words today? Want to ask a question? Share any comments?
I'll share a very quick comment only because you alluded to this, Levi, when you were speaking about the consequence of chance versus this book and the dialogue in the books. Yes, the consequence of chance was written, I don't even want to use the word raunchy. It was just real. And it was the way that that individual in that circumstance, in that job and lifestyle, it's just how he spoke, you know, and there was nothing strange about it to me, you know, while reading it. Maybe I just have a high threshold. I don't get offended easily. I don't know. This book, you can see the paradigm shift because he is an educator, you know, a higher educator. He speaks that way. He carries himself in that manner. So I was very impressed with how you were able to do that, you know, to truly embody these individuals where they are and where they came from and what they do. So when I read them, it is authentic. You know, in the consequence of chance, if he's going to New York, I'm expecting to feel like I'm in New York. The dialogue has to be there. In Houston, same thing. And it reflected to me the different characters. So I applaud you on your creativity, your diversity, and how easily you were able to embody different characters.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a big deal though, because like writing as an author is somewhat like being an actor. Like, I think the running joke about Ice Cube is he's the same every movie. But I think we enjoy that because we've just accepted he can't do much out of that. But if actors were always that way, I think it would take away from skill. So like, I want to see you be one way in this movie, and then I want to see you be able to diversify. So that was my challenge. So I'm still working on things. Like, I don't think I'm there. I think I'm getting there. And I have another book out in my mind right now. But my thing is, like I said, working on dialogue and being able to make sure people understand who's speaking and how, you know, the interaction. Because at one point, when I did write, everything was la la la, he said, la la la, she said. And I was like, even the people that were working with me, the editors, like, wow, that's a lot of he said, she said. People can think for themselves. They will catch on. Trust that people will be able to follow the dialogue. So I had to take off a lot of the he said, she said, just so that it could be more authentic to the flow, right? So that was that. But yeah, I really appreciate that. Kimberly was very instrumental in that because my very first version was so flowery, and I was trying to be humorous on this bourgeois intellectual plane that I was losing people. So I wouldn't say I dumbed down. What I did was that I made it more realistic for a broader audience because I was trying to be on some ghetto Shakespearean stuff. And then I toned it down to where people could really sink their teeth. And I think this version is what works.
And you know, that takes a lot of humility. You know, like Erica Badu said, you know, we're sensitive when you're an artist, you're an author, you're sensitive about what you do. And
Yeah.
so being able to let people do that, because I know I'm gonna try to be a perfectionist and I like to do things with excellence. That's hard for me. So I applaud you for taking that extra step because it shows that you want your work to be quality.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it really shows. Like I said, I have a ways to go in the book, but what I've seen so far, it really pulled me in, and I'm really interested. It almost puts me in the mind of Elin Harris's books. I don't know if
Cool.
you've ever read those,
How
but
the day goes by, yeah.
oh, with Basil, I kind of thought about him when I was reading about Gavin on
Yeah.
certain things. So yeah, so it puts me in the mind of him too. But you had your own flavor. I like that, and the
Thank you so
humor that
much. That's important.
you know.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. Like I said, thank you for the book. Thank you for coming on today, in the middle of the day during a busy time of day. We really, really enjoyed having you today.
Thank
And
you.
also thank you to the guests that joined today live.
Yes. Thank you
I
very much.
really
Thank you. Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you.
all. This will be shared. It was recorded, so you all can share it and so forth. And to our open book audience that's watching the replay and the premiere, thank you all for watching today. We hope you enjoyed today and tune in next month because next month is Children's Month. I know those kids are
Oh,
out of school.
yeah.
And we're going to do some fun things for the children. We will have a guest author that has written a children's book. I will also probably have another guest author that is a child. She's 12 years old and she has
Oh,
like 3 books out
oh
already.
wow.
And I'm trying to produce one. Come on. Okay. And so we have some fun things, library time, reading, and so forth. So have your children join us next month for some fun things. I'll have my own daughter on. She wants to do an interview. I don't know what she's going to talk about, but we'll see. She's about to go to kindergarten. So I'm trying to get her
Oh,
out of that shyness, but she's not shy at all. When she gets her own iPad, she does all kind of funny things. So I'm excited about that. But thank you all so much for joining us today, and we will see you all next month. Bye bye.
see.